So if the laborers do all the work, why shouldn't they make all of the money? What's up, y'all? It's AJ Simmons. I appreciate y'all coming again. Listen to this. If your cleaners are doing all of the work, right, then why should you make the most money? Like, for example, if you hired your brother and your brother went to go clean, let's say he cleaned the house for you, okay? And you charge that customer $100. Out of that $100, let's say you paid your brother $40. And then the other $60 had to go to the business. Well, why shouldn't your brother, after all, it is your brother, why shouldn't your brother get the whole $100 for performing that service? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, if your brother was to ask you that and you can't answer it to him easy enough, then it's probably because you don't understand business yourself yet. All right, so I'm about to help you break it down and help you understand it a little bit better. First of all, this is what you got. This is what you must remember. Okay? You do not get paid for the work that you do. Anybody, not just cleaning company owners, I'm not talking about anybody in this world, in this capitalistic society that we live in. You are not paid for the work that you do. Okay? You are really paid for the value that you provide. Okay? So this is why if you go and you work for a construction company and if they pay you $10 an hour, the reason for that is because the value that you bring is not that high. And then you might say, well, how is it not that high if that company can't function without me? Because it's not about you. It's that position. Okay? Yes, the company needs that position to thrive, but guess who can do it? Pretty much anybody that puts on that hard hat that's willing to bear that physical strain, okay? Which is a lot more people than there is people who would actually be the CEO or the founder of the company. Then you might say, no, I'll do that in a second over being a laborer. No, you won't. I'm going to tell you why, because you haven't done it. And let me explain. In order to start a company, what do you have to do? You have to take a giant major risk, okay? You have to take and put in X amount of money, right? When that's the first thing that stops everybody most of the time from starting businesses, is because they don't have the money to invest. So first of all, you had to put up the money. Then you had to put in the time, which means you had to research how to start the business. You had to meet with bankers. You had to meet with attorneys. You had to meet with CPA. You had to do all of the studying. You had to work night and day and night. All right. You had to figure stuff out. You had to hire people, interview, master management skills, leadership skills, all of the intangible things that go on behind the scenes that nobody thinks about. Right. You had to learn how to balance the books. There's so many different things that goes into being the owner of a company that people don't take into consideration. Okay. So if you were to go ahead, let's just say, okay, fine. I tell you what, is your brother? Give him the $100 for cleaning, right? Well, how would that work if you did that every time? There would be no business, okay? This is what you need to remember as the owner. You provided the cleaning equipment, okay? You provided the customer that they actually had to go clean. If it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have a job to perform in the first place, okay? So that's why you should keep that profit that you're taking, okay? That percentage, that amount that you're keeping, that you're not giving him, so you keeping that $60 and he's taking that $40. Well, that's why you're able to keep it, okay? Because because it's not like the whole $60 that you're keeping from him is profit anyway, okay? That $60 has to go towards taxes, okay, for your business. That $60 has to go to equipment that he would use to perform the job. That $60 had to go to advertising to find more jobs for him to perform to clean, okay? That $60 also had to go for a little bit of profit for you for taking the giant risk, for putting your money on the line, for if you borrow money, borrowing a loan and hoping that the business actually thrives, okay? All of these different things are going to being a business owner, okay? But you have to, so when somebody asks you that, why can't you spare them more out of what you're making? Because a lot of times you're put in situations where your employees will see what the company is actually making on a transaction, or at least what it looks like the company is making, right? I remember I used to work at a tent factory, and when we were making tents, and then sometimes the receipts or the packing slips would be on those orders, and we would say, dang, they about to get so-and-so amount of money, $20,000 for just this one tent. 2 years later, while we were thinking they were cheating us and we was all begging for raises because we were making $8 an hour at the time, and we was all begging for raises and thinking they were cheating us, 2 years later, that company went out of business, okay? You know why? Because yes, they might have made $20,000 gross on that particular sale, but what we didn't know is, okay, well, if you do the math, they got 8 people working in there at $8 an hour. That adds up. The supervisor makes 12 or 14 or whatever he makes. Then they have the office staff in the front who were making their salaries. You see what I'm saying? So many things go into it, and if you don't sell enough of those $20,000 tents, then you might not make enough to make payroll. You might not make enough to actually profit enough for it to be worth it for you in business. Think about it for a minute. If let's just say, okay, well, you making 100, and you say, well, I ain't got to give him 40, maybe I give him 60 or 80, and I just keep the 20. Well, if you just keep the 20, then guess what? After you pay taxes, expenses, and everything else, by the time you get enough profit for yourself, that profit margin might be so little that you might say, fuck this, I'm better off just going to go work for another cleaning company myself than to own one myself because there's so many expenses involved. Okay? So that's why people need to understand how business actually works before you even, really, I think that should be before you even get into business, you need to understand how business works, because a lot of times we'll find ourselves getting into it and wondering why we're not rich. Okay, and then most of the time it's because, hey, you got to scale your business. You got to grow more. That's number one. Then number two, you could not be even charging enough to make enough profit for it to be worth it. A lot of times some of us are getting into business, because I was like that one time too, because I was with a franchise, right? Y'all know that. And there's no secret. Sometimes with a franchise, certain accounts aren't bid the way they should be bid. Okay, let's just be honest. Especially when I'm paying $10 an hour. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 in Virginia. Okay, well, the federal minimum wage is $7.25, and Virginia doesn't have a minimum wage that's higher than that. I know certain places have minimum wages even higher than that. Okay, so in order to retain good people, I would pay $10 an hour, so that way it's a little bit higher than what people are used to in the area, and they will keep the job, and that worked. But when you break it down, and when I was looking at the math on certain accounts, I was actually making 10% profit after paying everything. And so on one hand, it's like, okay, well, that's still 10%. All you got to do is do 100 more of those. Well, when you do 100 more accounts at 10%, the risk and everything that goes into it, the dealing with the 100 different complaining customers, may not be worth you being the owner. It might just be a lot more simpler for you to go work for another cleaning company. Okay? So we got to look at these things, okay? It's like you don't have to. This is what you need to know. You do not get paid for the time. You do not get paid for the time that you put in. It's not getting paid for the work that you do. You're getting paid for the value that you bring. So if you do make $100 on the house and you pay somebody $40, and I'm just using this. Nobody makes $100 on the house most of the time, right? I'm just using this as easy math, as a quick example, okay? If you make $100 on the house gross, pay out $40, and then you take $60 to put into the business. If just 30 of those dollars can go towards the business and then the other 30 can go to your personal pocket, that's a 30% of what your business makes that you can take home. That's a great salary. So at that point, it makes it worth it for you as a person to do it. Okay? And then if you put in 30% back into the business, now you can afford to actually grow the company, pay for advertisement, and provide more jobs to more people. Okay? But if there's not enough profit margin in there for the company, then there's no purpose of continuing to do that business. And that's how you justify it to people when they ask you, well, why can't you pay me more? That is why, okay? Now, most business owners, I'm saying most of them, most business owners, we pay as well as we can possibly pay for the value being provided. We really do, because we all want to do what we feel is the right thing, right? And we feel like the right thing is paying as much as we can. However, we still have to make sure that the business can function. Okay, it's as simple as that. You have to, and if you can't break that down and look at that to see what your company needs, then you need to stop and figure it out. Because otherwise, you might drive yourself into being bankrupt because you're too busy trying to overpay people and undercharge your customer. Okay. Or you might be trying to overpay people, and therefore you're trying to overcharge a customer and you're not getting any customers, okay? So it's so many things that you got to consider when you're doing this stuff. But most importantly, if your brother asks you, or your daddy asks you, or your cousin asks you, or your sister asks you, or your daughter asks you, or whoever asks you, why can't I keep the whole thing? That's what you need to say to them, all right? So now you know you don't get paid for the time that you're doing. You get paid for the value that you bring. And the same way that they asses went in there and spent 2 hours cleaning for you, you can find 100 more people to do the exact same damn thing, okay? And that's just facts. But what you can't do is find 100 more people to run your company and put up the money that you put up to get into it, and have the sleepless nights that you had, and do all of the research that you did, and figure out the tax laws like you did, and hire the CPAs like you did, and do all of the different things that it takes to becoming a business owner, and take a loss in the beginning. You know what I mean? A lot of times we got to pay people out of our pocket before the damn payment from the customer even comes. Okay? Business owners always get paid last. Okay? So remember these things when you start feeling guilty because, oh, well, maybe I should be able to pay them more. They agreed to that salary, okay? They signed up for that. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that you should try to intentionally get over on people. No. I always, like I said, most of the time, entrepreneurs try to pay as much as they possibly can. We really do, okay? But you have to make sure that you're doing what's best for the business. And if you don't, it's in the worst interest of that damn employee anyway, because their ass ain't gonna have no job if the business can't stay afloat. Keep this stuff in mind. Thank y'all for watching. AJ Simmons, I will talk to y'all soon. AJ Simmons. Real quick, I want to tell you about my new lead generation program that will help you get more customers for your cleaning business and grow way faster than what you're probably growing now. Okay, now this will be for cleaning franchise owners as well as independent franchise owners. Okay, excuse me, as well as independent cleaning business owners. I'm sorry. All right, so here, if you just go to cleanbiznetwork.com, you click on the menu tab in the upper left hand corner. This is if you're on a phone. If you're on a desktop, then you'll see the tabs at the top of your screen. And you go down at the very bottom, second to the bottom, it says janitorial leads. I probably need to move that up a few tabs, right? You click on janitorial leads, and it'll take you to the page about my lead generation program, okay? So here's what you'll get. We'll handle the cold call script for you, so you don't have to tell us what to say. You just tell us where you are. We'll call a bunch of businesses in your area to try to get you some appointments to go bid, okay? These are not, we send you leads and then you got to race to the phone and hopefully you call the lead before somebody else does, like Home Advisor does. This is leads calling directly on behalf of your company so that we can get you real bid appointments with people who really want to speak with you, okay? We'll create a list of leads for the call for you. So, and when we create that lead, the list of leads, it'll be in a spreadsheet document. You can watch us live as we track the calls and the results in our call log. So when we track the results of those calls inside our call log on the spreadsheet, you'll get a link to actually view us typing in that log as we're doing it, okay? Then we'll schedule the actual appointments for you, and then once we schedule those appointments, you'll automatically get a notification in your email to let you know when the actual appointment is, okay? So whenever we do this, you'll be able to watch it, and then once we get a customer who says, or potential customer that says, okay, you can come in on Monday at 10 a.m., you'll get an email directly to your email and to let you know that that's when you need to come in and who you need to meet with, where it's located, the phone number, everything, okay? And then we guarantee you appointments or your money back, okay? So this is how it works. You'll come here, put in your application. This is a little quick application. Put in your name, your company's name, your email address that you want the appointment notification to come to, and then tell us how many calls you want to buy, okay? So we charge by the call. It's $1 a call. So if you buy 100 calls, it's $100, okay? If you buy 1,000 calls, it's $1,000, all right? List up to 3 cities that you want us to call, that you provide service in, and we'll call almost every business depending on how many calls you buy. So if you buy 1,000 calls, we might have to call every single company in those 3 cities to make sure that we get you all of the leads that we guarantee to you, okay? How many days after the call is made should we schedule your appointment? So we just ask you what your preferred time for your appointment is. And then again, here's where you can actually choose how many calls you want to purchase. Now, this is the kicker, okay? This is not just some lead generation service that, okay, well, you pay us $100 for 100 calls, and then if we don't get any appointments for you in those 100 calls, and you just out back. No, if you could pay for 100 calls, we guarantee you to at least get you one appointment out of those 100 calls. Now, if we make 100 calls and get you 50 appointments out of those 100 calls, all 50 appointments for you all 50 of those appointments are yours. Okay, there's no limit on how many you can get. We just put a minimum there so that way you always get at least something for your money. And the good thing about that too is if you're only paying $100 for those 100 calls and that one appointment, let's say that one appointment is worth $2,000 a month. Okay, so you just paid $100 to get $2,000 a month account. You can't beat that anyway. Okay, if you go to this one and you pay for 10 appointments, what if all 10 of those appointments are $2,000 a month? You see what I'm saying? Or maybe 10 of them are $100 each. Either way, you only paid $1,000 for it, and now you're grossing $1,000 a month off of 10 $100 appointments. Now, let's be real. There's no $100 a month accounts, right? We don't even accept $100 a month accounts. You guys should have minimum prices where you shut it off, even if, I don't care if the account is only 500 square feet and you go on once a week, you still got to, charge at least a minimum, okay? But anyway, that was just an illustration. But we guarantee you a certain amount of appointments every month, okay? So you don't have to worry about just paying us money and then not even getting that one bid appointment, all right? Here's the details you can kind of read through. It says, please allow us 30 business days from the day that you buy in to meet your guarantee, okay? So if you buy in today, we have 30 business days from today to send you your appointments, your guaranteed appointments, all right? Now, here's the thing. It usually won't take us nowhere near the actual 30 days. The only way they might even get close to that is if you buy 10 appointments at one time. And even then, I don't think it won't even get close. Somebody just bought 5 appointments the other day, and it was we took care of all of his appointments were scheduled within the 2-day span. Okay, it usually takes us about a week to get to start actually working on your calls, just because we always make sure that we're backloaded, so we have people who bought in before you, we had to serve them first, right? First come, first serve. But as soon as we get started on your calls, your appointments are usually scheduled very fast. Okay. We guarantee a 1% minimum conversion rate. I just explained to you about that. So for every 100 calls, we guarantee at least one appointment for you. All right. But we're going to make those 100 calls or 1,000 calls or however many calls that you pay for. All right. All right. About that. If your minimum appointment guarantee is not met within 30 days, then 30 business days. We will refund all of your money within 7 days. Okay. So if you buy 1,000 calls and we guarantee you 10 appointments and we can't deliver that within 30 days, we'll give you your whole $1,000 back. Okay. So you can't lose with this. It's a money back guarantee and everything. All right. You are responsible for closing your appointments. We do not guarantee customers will actually use your service. We do know that the customers are interested. They agreed to have this appointment with you. Okay. So they do have interest, but it's up to you to go in there and sell and close the deal, okay? It's not our fault if you go in and they decide that they don't like your company because your company seems too small for them. That's not our fault. That's up to you to present your company in the best way to close the deal, okay? And now, if for whatever reason, this usually will never ever happen, but if for whatever reason, I won't say never ever, but if for whatever reason you get a appointment set, if you get an appointment set and you go in and the customer says, "Oh, I didn't schedule any appointment with you," so you feel like the lead is bogus, you reach out to me and we'll figure out a way to rectify that for you. Usually we either give you additional 100 calls or we either give you another guaranteed appointment. Okay, so but just reach out to me and let me know. But I can promise you, most of the time, we don't do any bogus leads. We had some early problems, growing pains. We did have some problems like that in the past. I fired those employees and we've moving on. We know we have a strict policy about making sure that our leads are confirmed, okay? And then also when you get the information for the appointment, you can call and confirm the lead as well. I don't recommend it unless you just really feel like you have to do it, or if you know you have a very good phone voice, okay? If you don't think that your phone voice is very well, I probably would hold off on confirming the lead and just trust that we already confirmed the lead, only because you don't want to turn the customer off. We already took some time out of their day to schedule the appointment, and then for somebody to come back and call them again just to ask them are they sure, that might make them say, you know what, just since you asked, no, I don't want to do it no more. So just be careful with the confirming, okay? You are responsible again for closing your leads though, all right? We are not responsible if you miss your appointment for whatever reason. The appointments are sent to your email. We usually schedule all appointments with, within a 2 day span in between the day that we actually schedule it and the day that you're actually supposed to go in. So if you need to reschedule your appointment for whatever reason, you can just call them and reschedule. Okay. We won't reschedule it for you. That's something that you would have to do, and you need to make sure that you're very tentative to your emails. Okay, because if you miss the appointment, then that's up to you. Okay, that's on you. Now, all lead appointments provided to you have expressed interest in your service. However, we do not guarantee that the lead will hire you. As again, I mentioned that before. All right, it's your responsibility to sell. All right, the leads provided to you can be any commercial niche. Okay, it can be of any commercial niche. So that includes medical offices, dental offices, churches, retail stores, real estate offices. I have law firms up here, but we probably won't call law firms, all right, just because they're lawyers, and I don't want them to add us to their do not call list or any type of things like that. But also manufacturers will probably be up there, and any type of business services. Okay, so then once you fill out this application, you just click submit. Once you click submit, that's it. Okay, you agree to the terms, and we'll get rolling on your case. All right. If you purchase 100 calls. And okay, so this is some frequently asked questions. So if I purchase 100 calls and you get me an appointment on the 10th call, will you still make the other 90 calls that I purchased? And the answer to that is yes. Okay, you're paying for calls and not appointments, but we do provide a minimum appointment guarantee to ensure that you receive the best deal. Okay, so if you pay for 100 calls, you will get your 100 calls. If we make 100 calls and you don't get an appointment, and guess what? We're going to make as many calls as we need to get you that one appointment, because like I said, we guarantee. So even if it take us 1,000 calls to get you one appointment, we will make you 1,000 calls. Okay, some of the people who already bought in, who've been watching that call log, will see we've made 500 and something calls sometime to get some people one appointment, because certain localities are different than others. Okay, all right. So the busier ones are usually easier. Okay. What if I'm not available on the date that the appointment was scheduled? As I stated, you can just call ahead of time and let them know that you need to reschedule. Just blame it on us, okay? When you call these customers and you think you need to reschedule, just say, "Oh, my assistant didn't realize I've already had an appointment booked for that day and time. Can you move it to another time?" Okay, simple as that. All right, another common question asked is, can I keep the call log once you are finished providing me with the calls that I purchased? So the answer to that is yes, you can keep the call log. I always recommend that you copy, because like I said, you'll be able to go in and view the spreadsheet that we're using. I recommend that you copy it and paste it into an offline Microsoft Excel file or your own spreadsheet, okay? So, but just make sure you keep a file, so that way, if we do, let's say it takes us 105 calls to make to get your appointment. Well, it's probably going to still be another 150 something contacts on that list that we never reached out to. So you can go reach out to those contacts yourself, or when you look at our list, you'll see that some of the notes says they told us to try back in 3 months. They told us to try back in 6 months. They said this, they said that. And you can go look through the notes and try to reach back out to some of those leads that we didn't follow up on, okay? So just definitely you can keep the call log. Another common question is, how soon after I purchase can I expect to start receiving appointments? As I stated, we usually start sending out appointments about a week after the day that you purchase, okay? But we'll be in constant contact with you from the time that you buy in. You'll get an email confirming that you bought in. Then probably about 1 or 2 days after that, you'll get an email showing you the link to access your call log so you can watch us work. And then right after that, you'll start getting appointments straight to your email, all right? Another common question I've been starting to get is, can I get the service even if I'm with a franchise? The answer to that is absolutely you can. Okay, so it doesn't matter, franchise, non-franchise. Again, I'm just here to make sure everybody eat, okay? So this Clean Biz Network, we covering all cylinders. We're going to help you get started. We're going to help you and provide a network for you with the Clean Biz Network mastermind group. Then we're going to make sure that you know how to bid with calculatedclean.com so you can get the price right. And then we're going to make sure that you can grow your business by providing these leads, okay? So hopefully this video was able to help you. And if you are interested, just make sure you go to cleanbiznetwork.com, click the menu tab, and go down to janitorial leads, and you can roll from there. All right, thank y'all for watching.